Hello and welcome to the Mal and Johnny Show. And I'm pleased to say he has joined us. I wasn't sure whether he'd make it because he's had a tough week. Oh, Johnny Tudor. How are you feeling, Johnny, after the big gig this week?
Well, I survived. I was on the stage for an hour and 20.
Right.
Singing, dancing, telling jokes, doing impressions, you know. But I still remembered it all after 2 years of lockdown. Thank God.
Well done. That's amazing. All right. So, just remind us, it was in Penarth.
It was in Penarth. There's a village hall there. They've done it out. They've got a fantastic lighting system.
Lovely.
And they put shows on. See, so this was an afternoon cabaret I did.
Yeah.
And we sold out. So it was great, you know. And they had some food. They gave them a buffet. And Mark Thompson, he's the compere. He came on and sang a few songs, did a few jokes, played some card game with them for like 2 minutes, just a bit of a gimmick, and then they ate their food. Then they introduced me, and I did the rest.
You did the rest. Okay, well look, let's have a little look at Johnny Tudor in concert in Penarth. Let's start with a little bit of tap dancing. Great. And a smashing crowd, as you say, sold out.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, the hardest part was carrying the gear. I mean, I'm not 25 anymore.
Where was Alwyn?
I need a roadie.
Where's Alwyn when you need her, isn't it?
That's right, yeah.
So, all right, so you get the gig. It's nice. All that. They had something to eat and drink as well beforehand or afterwards?
Yeah, they set them up a nice buffet. They had the usual, you know, your satay on sticks and your pork pies and some nice cooked ham and some pickle. I mean, it was a nice buffet.
Yeah, lovely.
And there was a bar, and they just enjoyed themselves. And we're all of a certain age, you know,
yes.
Nearly my age. So when I did the impressions, which most of them are dead, they remembered them.
Okay, let's have a couple of dead impressions now, because obviously our audience is wide and you know, all different ages. But I'm sure a couple of them will get them. Like what? Now? What will you have done?
Well, I did a Sammy Davis impression. I mean, most people remember Sammy Davis, and I do a Mickey take of Tom Jones. I mean, the voice isn't exactly like Tom's, but I do a parody to Greengrass of Folk, funny words. I'm still waiting for the writ. And then what else? I did. No, I didn't do Anthony Newley this week. Oh, well, Frankie Vaughan. They like that because there were a lot of people who remembered Frankie Vaughan.
Yeah.
And I told him a couple of stories, and I told him about the book, the Dorothy Squires book, because I told him the story about when Dorothy found out that Roger was living with an Italian woman, and she dressed up in her best clothes, got in the Ford Thunderbird, and threw bricks through every window. And they all laughed at that. And I said he came out and grabbed her, and he said, "But Dorothy, your hand is bleeding." She said, "It's my heart that's bleeding." And that's how I got the title of the book. So they liked all that, and they started looking it up on Amazon, so I might sell it for you.
Fantastic. Because that's the thing is, you know, it takes getting back into the swing of things. As you say, one, you've got to get fit because you're a song and dance man. You've got to remember. Did you remember all the words?
Yeah, I did. Well, you see, before the event, like 2 weeks before, I started rehearsing the tap dance because obviously you've got to get your I'm meticulous about getting it precise because I hate people who tap dance and it's not in time and you're missing beats. So I was in the garage doing my bit, and then I'd go through my songs with the backing tracks, make sure I remembered it all. And it was slightly nervous in a way. I don't usually get nervous, but not having done it like out on the road for like nearly 2 years, you think, oh, I hope it's going to be okay. Will the voice last? Yeah. Well, it lasted for an hour and 20, so it was okay.
You know, at the end of hour and 20, did they get like a big hook and pull you off because you wouldn't?
Yeah, you get him off.
No, not get him off. Because
I was nearly as bad as Ken Dodd. You could never get Ken off the stage.
He'd be like 3 hours, wouldn't he? But the thing is,
I remember doing a gig in Butlins once, and I was doing the summer season, and we used to do the cabaret bar on a Saturday, and they'd had Ken the week before. So I said, "You had Ken Dodd on last week. How long was he on?" And somebody showed him too long.
All right, so as well as the tap dancing, you did a little bit of singing, but I think it's a bit of Elvis. I think we've got a little bit of Elvis.
I did a rock and roll medley, I think, yeah.
Let's have a little look at the rock and roll, part of the rock and roll medley.
You get this
in love. I'm all shook up. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, please don't ask me what's on my mind. A little shook up, but I'm feeling fine. And I'm with a fun, but I love the best. My heart beats so it scares me to death. She turns my hand, well, I feel like that. I guess it's like a volcano to top. And I'm glad to see she's my buttercup in love. I'm all shook up.
You sounding in good voice, Johnny. Sounding in good voice.
Well, it's still there, I think. Yeah, I do my practice.
Yeah. And
do you know what? When I was a kid, I went for an audition for Philips Records, okay?
Right.
Through an agent my old man knew called Emmeline Griffiths. He used to be the agent for the Seekers, not the Seekers, what am I talking about? The Springfields.
Okay.
Before Dusty went separate. So he took me in and I sang a song for Johnny France was the A&R man. He played for me and I sang a standard and I got all these crits back. His breathing's not very good and he's this, that and the other. So I was up in arms because I was a young kid. I went, Cliff Richard can't breathe. You know what you're like when you're the kid. Anyway, my old man said, right, he found some guy who was an opera singer and he sent me there, see?
Right.
Who taught me how to breathe properly and how to place my voice properly. And it's kept me in good stead all these years because you sing properly, you don't ruin your voice.
Yeah.
You sing over the top. Do you know what I mean? A lot of people sing with their throat, which is the worst thing you can do. You get nodules.
Right.
So if you're doing me, it's in there. Me, it's up here then, isn't it?
Right.
So I've learned that and I sing. So I think it's kept me in good stead with my voice all these years, you know.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy it?
I enjoyed it after about 10 minutes.
Right.
I started, I thought, how's this going to go, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm getting into it. And I thought, oh, yeah, they're okay. They're enjoying this. And then I relaxed. And I had a glass of water on the stage in case the throat dried up.
Yeah.
Because you worry about stuff that won't happen, don't you?
Yeah. Well, yes. And the thing is, because you haven't done it for such a long time. I mean, I was the same.
That's right.
Every gig that I've had over the last couple of months when they've come back, it's like the week up to I'm thinking, why am I like this? I've done this all my life. Why am I like this? But for 2 years, we haven't done it. And it's amazing.
Exactly.
It's just that pre-match nerves.
Exactly. I mean, when you're doing it all the time, you just don't think about it. You just walk on the stage, first song starts, and you're there, aren't you? Mm-hmm. But I was aware I was doing things that I'd forgotten I did. Mm-hmm. I mean, little nuances, for instance. I can't remember exactly what I did, but little lines, the muscle memory came in. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like I used to say this, well, I'm going to do a Tom Jones thing now. I said, Tom is back, and they all laugh. I take my jacket off and the tie and all that. And I said, he bought a place by me. It's called Glamorgan. Now, I'd forgotten I used to say that. See? And it just came out, you know what I mean?
That's brilliant. So, obviously, the audience, nice audience, they enjoyed it.
Great. Yeah, great doing it.
When next? When's the next gig?
I don't know. I haven't got any,
Well,
I came home last night. I was on the note and always said, you should give it up, John. You're too old for carrying gear about. No. I said, I know. I said, but it's one of those things. When the phone stops ringing, I'll give it up.
Yeah. We can find you a roadie. Somebody in their 60s, carry the gear.
That's right.
A young kid in the 60s.
Somebody with muscles, because those speakers are a ton in weight.
Oh, that's brilliant.
What happens when you go on doing your gigs? You've got a lot of gear?
A piano and a guitar, and use the in-house PA. That's become my new mantra.
Oh, there we are. Oh. But sometimes they're not pretty good, are they, in-house PA?
The theatres actually aren't so bad these days. Okay. The theatres are all right now. So I haven't pushed my luck into any sort of venues that don't have a good built-in system. Yeah. When we used to do the clubs, back in the 90s, I used to take a great big amplifier, right? I mean, it was, lugging it up the stairs. And then they brought out these things called pods, right? And they're about that size. Little sort of plasticky looking thing. You plug your guitar and it sounds like every amplifier they've ever made, and it goes into the PA. So in the end, I used to come up with shoulder bag with my pod, guitar in the other hand. That'd be it. Oh, the poor old drummer would be there for an hour before me setting up. So
I never forget the Swansea Dockers, and you had to go in up the back stairs on a fire escape.
Yes.
And if it was raining, it was a bit wet, and you're carrying this gear up the stairs. What we went through, mate,
Potentially, I did the Garland Con Club. It was the weekend. On the Friday, I did the St David's Hall with Art Garfunkel. Sunday, I did the London Palladium with Art Garfunkel. on the Saturday, I had a gig already in the diary for the Garnant Con Club. Same thing, but a third floor up. I think it was all fire escapes.
Talking about that, though, it's the contrast in that you're talking about doing the play. I did the play one Sunday. The following week, I was in Beddau, workman's club or a rugby club or something. You brought back to earth, that you 30-piece orchestra, organ and drums.
Yeah. Great stuff. All right, well, look, we know the show works.
Show works.
You bring your own PA.
I've been asked to do a couple in West Wales. I think I may have told you that.
Yeah.
They haven't come back with a date yet. They'd seen it online that I was doing one. They said, would I do some for them? So I might do those.
Well, point them to the podcast, because we've got a couple of videos on today now as well. They'll be able to see it live in action. And let's get the bookings rolling in for the Johnny Taylor show.
We should do the Mal&Johnny show. I can bring my PA. You can sing through that end.
Fantastic. As long as I haven't got to carry it in.
No.
All right. Well, that's brilliant news. Well, have a good rest now. Rest up. Rest easy. And and we'll.
I'm going to go pick the grandkids up now. Never stop in this house, you know.
Terrific. All right. Well, look, lovely to speak to you. Speak to you next week.
Okay, next week we'll think of something to talk about. I'm sure
we will. All right, you take care. Lots of love. Ta-da. It's from.
All the best, pal.
From him it's goodbye.
And from him it's goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.